Alright, so we're going to talk about solids. There are some basic types that we talk about. The first one is a prism. Now, a prism is formed by two parallel congruent bases. So notice the example they give here. We have two bases. They are exactly the same, a triangle here and a triangle here that are exactly the same size. Those are our bases. Okay? And polygon faces. Okay? So this would be a face, the front here. And then notice there's also a base on this side and a face on this side. Okay, next we have a cylinder. Now the difference between a prism and a cylinder is that a cylinder has circular bases, always circles. So a cylinder always has circle bases. A prism always has polygon bases, so triangles, squares, rectangles. Okay. A pyramid comes to a point at the top, so it has one base that's a polygon, so a square, octagon, pentagon, hexagon, those are our polygons, and then they meet at a common vertex, that's the top of your pyramid. So the difference between a prism and a pyramid, they both have polygon bases, but the pyramid only has one base and then comes to a point rather than having another base at the top. And again, that point that it comes to is called the vertex. Okay, next we have a cone. Okay, a cone is formed with a circular base and comes to a point at the top. So a cone is similar to a pyramid in that it comes to the point and only has one base, but for a cone its base is always a circle. It's similar to a cylinder in that it has a circular base, but notice again it just has one base, where the cylinder has two bases. The cone has one base and then comes to a point called the vertex. Alright, let's name what these three-dimensional objects look like. Are they a prism, a cylinder, a pyramid, or a cone? Okay, let's look at our first one. First we want to see, okay, it doesn't come to a point at the top, so it's not a pyramid and it's not a cone. Then we look at its bases, so it's either a prism or it's a cylinder. Its bases are circles, so that makes it a cylinder. Okay, next we have this little wedge of cheese. Okay, now let's look at the bases. We have a triangle base here, and then down here we would also have a triangle base. The sides go straight up, they do not come to a point, so it's either a cylinder or a prism because it doesn't come to a point, it has two bases. But notice our bases are not circles, so it can't be a cylinder. It is a prism, specifically a triangular prism, because it has triangles on its bases. The next one, well, this one's crazy. Notice it comes to a point at the top. I'm guessing you know what this is. Okay, it comes to a point at the top. On the bottom, it has a polygon. This is not a square at its base, so that would make it a pyramid. It has a polygon base and comes to a point at the top. Next, a box of Toblerone chocolates. Okay, so let's kind of see what shapes we have. We have a base here and a base here. Now you might ask, well, why are the bases at the ends? The bases are always your two parallel sides, and notice this part and this part, they're not parallel. Our parallel parts are a triangle at this end and then another triangle down at this end. So those are my bases. Okay, well, if it has two bases, then it's either a prism or a cylinder, and its bases are not circles, so it can't be a cylinder, therefore it must be a prism. Okay, next we can probably guess what this one is. It comes to a point at the top, so it's either a pyramid or a cone. We look down at the base is a circle, so that means it's a cone. And finally, here we are, a die. What shape would it be? Well, it doesn't come to a point at the top, so it's not a pyramid or cone. Its bases are squares, so polygons, which makes it a prism. In order to be a cylinder, they would have had to have been circles.